Welcome to the Supercharge series on Invoke Code Part 2. You must have enjoyed a lot of exercises in the Part 1. Let's begin with the Part 2 and see what are the exercises we have here. The very first exercise is validate email addresses. Imagine you have been given multiple email addresses from which you have to validate which one is a valid email and which one is an invalid one. Imagine you have a list and these are your inputs. Out of this, there are two email addresses which are invalid. For example, here if you see invalid hyphen email, this is not an email address. And the last one, missing at the red dot, is not an email address. This is an email address. The first one is an email address. So how would you write a code in Invoke Code to find this? So output should give you two things, valid emails and list of invalid emails. You have to print it on the screen. This will be an interesting exercise and a lot of things you are going to learn. So let's see how this can be done. The very first thing, let's get an assign activity and create a variable called input emails where I'm going to store all the emails that we saw. So how to write? You will say new list of string from and curly braces, and here let us copy paste all the email addresses and click on save. You have an error. Why is it so? Because your variable type is string. Let's convert it to list of strings. So for this, go here, type list, angular bracket, and then say string and click on OK. So with this, the error is gone. So you have got the list of emails. Let's get the invoke code. Let's click on edit argument. The very first argument that I need is the input for the emails. So I'll say input emails. The direction has to be in. The type has to be list of strings. And where you have all your inputs in the input emails variable in the assign activity. After that, as an output, I need two things. One is valid emails result I need, and this has to have an out direction and it is a string, and I'm going to pass it to a variable called valid emails result. Similar way, I also need the invalid emails, right? So I'll say invalid emails result. The direction has to be out string, and same way let us create a variable called invalid emails result, and I'm going to click on OK. So that way all the arguments are set. Now let's see how to write the code. Now this is the important part. So let us put our apostrophes and say pb.net code for your comment to validate email addresses. All right. So now to validate the email addresses, I need a couple of things. First of all, let us create two different variables. One is valid emails I need, and this has to be list of emails, correct? So dim valid emails as new list of string. Okay, similar way, let's create another variable called dim invalid emails as new list of string. So it is just like a blank variables. It currently contains nothing. After that, what I have to do, I have to literally loop through the email. So I have created a variable called in_input emails. So I have to loop through. Now to loop through, you will be using for each. Okay, for each, and you need a variable which is going to hold one value, like for each I you write. So here I'm writing emails as string in_input email. So in_input email is nothing but your list of emails which is going to pass one by one to this variable called emails. Simple. So for each emails a string in input email. So this variable is a string variable. That's all I am trying to say. Done. Now after that, what I want, after that, this email, right, this email, we have to identify whether it's a proper email or not. Now for that you need a regular expression. So let me create a variable called dim email regex as string. So this will be a string, but here we have to provide a regex formula. If you are new to regex, regex is set of characters which will tell you whether an email is valid or not. I also have a playlist. If you want to learn more, you can watch that playlist. For the moment, let's get in regex from the internet. Simply on the internet, I'm simply trying regex expression for email. So you can see on Google, I found an expression. All I have to do, I'll simply copy this expression. If you would like to learn more, here you can go through it. Coming back to the code, all I have to do, use two double quotes and paste that expression here. Pretty simple. So once I have put the expression, now we will continue writing the code. Now here I will say if system.text.regular_expression.regex.isMatch. Now this is the expression you have to write whenever I'm going to use the regular expression. Pretty simple. System.text.regular_expression.regex.isMatch. And here it requires two inputs. One is where you would like to try. So I would like to try in the emails variable, that the emails which is going to contain, and you have to put a comma and you have to provide the regex. So here the email regex. So this expression is written here. So I'll provide that expression here with the variable email regex, control space. So what this is going to do, if you look at, if system.text.regular_expression_regex_isMatch email. So in the email, let's say the very first email came. For example, test abc@test.com. That is a proper email address. So when it comes, it will see if that test abc@test.com is this having the email regex. Is it matching with it? That means this one should have A to Z. Also, it can have small a to z, it can have capital A to Z, it can have numbers, it can have a dot, it can have an underscore like this. Then you should have a @, then you should write your domain, then you should have a dot, then you should have a .com, correct? So that is what the expression is doing. So it is going to check that. Now if it is correct, if this is matching with this, isMatch means it should match with the regular expression. If it is matching, then that means that is a valid email address. So what I will do, I'll use this variable valid emails. So I'll say valid control space emails, and this is a list. So I can use a function called add, and I'm going to add the email coming from the top. Okay, so instead of saying emails, I should say email. That will be a proper, because it's single string, right? So email. So I'll say email. Okay. So now what happened? The valid email, this list will be keep on getting the correct emails into it. It is going to keep on add. Now after this, I'll say else if valid, the next is invalid, right? So I'll say invalid emails control space dot add, and I'm going to add the email. So the expression is going to validate. The valid ones will be kept here in this list. The invalid ones will be added into the other one. That's it. And after this, all you have to do, you have to end if, you have to end, and also the for each loop should be closed. So that way it is all end if has to have a space. Yep. And it has to be closed. Let me hit enter. It's not working. I made a mistake. So it should not be else if, it should be simply else, right? I'm not writing a condition here. And then here I should say end if. So that way it is correct. And then you are closing the for loop with the next. So for loop is closed here. After that, what I will do, I have created two out arguments. One is out valid email result is equals to, I'm going to use string.join. Why I'm doing string.join? Because this is a list. Valid email is a list. So string.join in double quote, I'm going to say comma space and then put a comma and provide the valid emails. So here I will say valid emails. So what is happening here? The valid email is a list. Let's say it has got 2 emails. So for after writing each email, it is going to put a comma and a space and then write the other email. That is the output I want. Similar way, out underscore invalid control space is equals to string dot join. Same expression you have to repeat, comma space, comma invalid emails control space. So that way the output is properly created. All right, so let us click on OK. Now the output will be passing to valid email results and the invalid ones will come to invalid email results. All we will do, use a message box, and here let us print pretty simple. Let's say valid email address, email result, and then print the next one below it, and I'm going to change the variable to invalid email results. All right, so I've got everything done. Let's save it, and you know your inputs. Your inputs are here. test@example.com, invalid email, user@domain.com. So out of this, there are 2 things which are wrong. Invalid email, this is wrong, this is wrong, rest is correct. Now let's run it. Okay, so the first one, valid email result has been printed, test@example.com, comma, space, user@domain.com. Correct. And the invalid one, invalid hyphen email, comma, this is invalid one, missing @ this is also invalid one. So you can see how nicely we have validated the email addresses using invoke code and using regex expression inside our invoke code. So with this, we have completed our very first exercise of validating email addresses. Our next interesting exercise is calculate discounts for a shopping cart. So what is there in this exercise? Calculate discounts for shopping cart. In this one, imagine a retail store wants to apply discounts to items during a sale. Any item priced above $100 get 20% discount. Anything above $100 gets 20% discount, while others get a 10% discount. Anything less than $100 gets 10% discount. You need to calculate and list the final prices. Let's see how this can be achieved. So we are going to prepare a module which can be repeatedly used. For this, first of all, let me drag and drop an assign activity. And in the assign activity, let's create a variable saying product price. Hit enter. The variable value type, I am going to make it as double. So you can say system.double. And then let us put some value here. So just to start with, I'm going to put 100. So $100. I put some product price. After this, let's try to get the invoke code activity. And click on edit arguments. Let us create the important argument here in product price. It should be, the direction should be in, the type has to be system.double, and I am going to insert the product price that is coming from our assign activity. After that, as an output, I'll create out underscore. So I want to see the discounted price, right? After discount price. So I'll say after discount product price. After discount product price, and then I'm going to make it out and the type as double. Why I'm saying double? Because if I take integer, there could be decimals values. For example, if you provide 119, the output that will come in decimal value. Okay, so that's why double is more preferable rather than integer. And here let's create a variable after discount product price. So our arguments are set. Now we have to write the code. Okay, let's put a comment. I'll say vv.net code to calculate discounted product price. Okay, now what I will do, the very first thing after you calculate the discount, for example, what is anything above $100 should get 20% discount. Now for that, how will you write? So you need if, right? So I'll start with if in underscore product price is greater than 100, then what I want, then I want to calculate the discounted price. So for this, let us create a variable on top of it, dim discounted price as double. And here what I'm going to do, I'll calculate that. So I'll say discounted price is equals to in underscore product price multiplied by 0.2. If it is greater than 100, you have to get 20% discount. So how am I calculating this? I'll show you. For example, I open the calculator. Okay. So here what I'm doing, let's say $100. Okay, let's calculate. How will you calculate 20%? So 100 into 0.2, if I do, you get 20 rupees. So 20 rupees discount. So 100 minus 20, you'll get, what is the final price of the product? The final price of the product will be 80 rupees. So here I'm just calculating the discount. So here I'm saying discounted price is equal to in product price into 0.2. So the output here will be somewhat, for example, if I'm passing 100, so the condition is not greater than equals to 100, but I'm saying, so it will calculate 20. So this is the discounted price I'm calculating. After this, else I'll say discounted control space. Oh, I got so many variables. Okay, this, let me write it, discounted price, okay, is equals to in underscore product price 0.1. Anything less than that will be multiplied by 10%. So 0.1 multiplied by 0.2 means 20%. Okay, so pretty simple. And then finally what you have to do, I have to calculate the after discount, what I have written, the argument out underscore after, something like that, control space. If you do control space, it will automatically pull it up for you. So after discounted price is equal to in underscore product price minus discounted price. So this variable, whatever value it gets through this if condition, it will automatically going to calculate. Now very important part with if, so you have to end the if. Okay, done. I think that's all. I'm going to click on OK. Now the time has come to print the value. So I'll use simply a message box. And here let's print it. What will I print? I'll print the after discounted price. So to start with, we'll give 100 as an input and see what is the output comes. So if 100, how much discount? 10% discount. So the value should be 90. Okay. 90. Okay. I'll give more than 100. For example, I'm saying giving, let's say 180, or let's give some odd number. Let's say 165. Okay. Now if I run the code, So it should have 20% discount. That means 33 rupees, right? 165 minus 33. So 132 you can calculate. So it is doing the proper job. For example, if I say 99 rupees, okay, 99, that means you should get 10%, 9.9. 99 minus 9.9, so 89.1. Okay, so you can see the output is properly coming. So with this exercise we are completing our exercise number 2 in this. Our next exercise is read a text file content. In this exercise, imagine you have a text file where you have written few things inside a text file. All you have to do, you have to read the text content and show it using the UiPath Invoke Code. Let's see how this can be done. For this, I have a blank text file where I have written a sentence called hello world. Now this is the text file named UiPath testing.txt. I want to read it. I'm back on the UiPath Studio designer panel. The very first activity I'm going to take is invoke code. I'm going to click on edit arguments, expand this and create our very first argument which is supposed to know the file path where your file or your text file exists. So I'll simply say file path, direction should be in and the type should be string. I copied the path of the file, the text file, and I'm going to place it here. So the path has been placed over here. And then I'm going to click on OK. But before that, you also need the output. So let me create an argument called out, and I'm going to say text file content. And here let's create a variable called text file content. And I'm going to click on OK. Alright, so that's it about the arguments. Let's write the code. The best practice while writing the code is to give little comments. So I'll say code to read text file content. Okay. Now here, let's start writing the code. So what I need, I have an output variable, right? So out underscore control space text file content. And here this variable, I need to pass the value of the file. For this, let's use equals to and then say system.input output. This is the namespace which contains methods to read a file content. So system.input output.file. That's all. And here if you put a dot, then you type read, you have the method called or the function you call. So function called read all text. Simply hit on enter. So system.io.file.read all text. In the parenthesis, all you have to do, pass that in underscore file path. Okay, so with that you are done and your out text file content is going to get the content of that file. Click on OK and let's try to print the file using a message box. And I'm going to say text, what is that file content, text file content, text file content. That's about it. Let us going to save and run the code. Let's see what's the output comes, how the output comes. Okay, so the output has come blank. Why the output is blank? Okay, because the argument is in. Let's make it out, run it. Now you can see the output has been read. The content of the text file has been read, and here you can see the output hello world. So with this, our third exercise is complete.